We are back. Not even 24 hours later, and we're doing another live BRAP podcast. This is actually a BRAP rant. I told you guys last night that these things can happen at any moment. They could just be sprung on you. And, this is one of the topics that I wanted to talk about last night, but we couldn't get to it because of the whole coronavirus thing. And by the way, I never thought I would see the day where people would use a virus that's, that's really a pandemic right now, where they would use that same virus for console wars fodder. I never thought I would see the day that the console wars would stoop that low, but I have seen it. I've witnessed it today on Twitter, and I don't know what to say. I would only say to those people, I would encourage you to read up about the coronavirus. I saw someone tweet recently, 61,000 people died of the flu last year. What's the big deal? Sony didn't cancel PAX East with the flu was killing those many people. This is a little bit different than the flu, guys. And I would encourage you to read up. That's all I will say about that. And with that being said, I do want to give a special warm welcome to the CEO or the COO of Iron Lords Gaming. You guys might know him as iDizzy81 in the Twitters. Dizzy, welcome to BRAP, sir. It is a pleasure having you on, man. Obviously, we are big fans of all of the lords from the realm. So welcome to BRAP, man. Great to have you on.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on here.
Absolutely.
Got a lot to talk about with this.
Absolutely. And we have, and let me tell you something. I'm excited to be able to hear him because I couldn't hear him last night. We were having some issues, I think. But it's always great to have Gaming Forte in the house. Forte, let me tell you, I missed you, man. I missed you. I told you before the show went live, I was like, Forte, turn up your mic. You have the voice of an angel, sir. Forte, what's up, man?
What's up, though? What is going on? Everybody out there, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm standing next to the corner, next to a tall giraffe. Can you hear me here? It's
giraffe.
Where I am, so the internet connection might be a little bit shady, but I'm here.
Dude,
perfect as a Boost commercial.
Exactly. We can hear you loud and clear, Forte. Hopefully Gregor Von Doom doesn't pop in.
No, I need him to pop in.
Okay. Gregor was funny, man. Gregor was funny. So
I love Gregor. He made this emblem for me, so I love him.
Oh, he did make that. That's right. He did do that work for you. I forgot about that. So
he did.
Hey, big shout out to everyone in the live chat, guys. I'm gonna drop the link here. And if you guys wouldn't mind,
shut up, Slow-Mo.
Retweeting. Slow-Mo says, "Wow, I can hear Forte say more than 4 words." Oh my goodness, that is too funny. So Bad Big Games is pointing up to what Forte said. So that is awesome. But no, Forte, man, it's great having you back on. Hope you enjoyed the time with family. I know you were out of town, so hopefully that was a good time. Hopefully it was relaxing.
Yeah, sleep. Not even sleep, just a lot of running to an arcade that's over expensive and running to the pool like 5 and 6 times. It was cool though.
Well, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So yeah, this is a topic that I wanted to talk about yesterday, but with all the stuff of Sony missing PAX East because of the coronavirus and kind of the fallout from that, I want to talk about an article that just dropped. I believe it was yesterday from Polygon. The title of the article is GameStop Employees Report Extreme Pressure from Desperate Bosses. Now, the two gentlemen I have on here, Gaming Forte and iDizzy, have some interesting insight into GameStop. And I think, I won't say who, but one of them will really give us some real-time insight, some facts, if you will, or perspective into the inner workings of this retail giant. Even though they're struggling financially, I still consider GameStop, still a prominent retail figure within the gaming industry. And I hope that, and I understand that digital content and all that digital purchasing is growing, but let me tell you something. I find value in GameStop because personally, I don't like to sit on every game that I'm not playing. I like having the option as a consumer to trade my game in for credits or money towards the purchase of a new game. I like that. I like that option. I don't know why people do not take more advantage of that. And that's fine if you like. I understand the convenience factor to digital, but for me personally, Enrique, the consumer speaking, I like to trade my games in. Damn it, and I like my Game Informer. I'll leave it at that. So, so I want to go to this Polygon article real quick. Again, it's titled "GameStop Employees Report Extreme Pressure from Desperate Bosses." Actually, I'm going to try to pull this up real quick so I can show the everyone in the live chat here. Give me a sec here.
We doing some share screen technology here. Here we go.
Yeah,
it's when Discord breaks.
Oh, don't say that, man. Don't say that. All right, here we go. All right, I got it up, and let's see if we can show it. Let's see if it's showing now. It should be showing now.
Stream delay.
Oh, yeah, stream delay. Forte, do you see it?
Not yet.
All right, let me know. I'm sure it's up because it's on. It's showing on Streamlabs right now.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah, and it might be too.
Oh yeah, the blown up version.
Yeah, it's too big. I think that's what she said.
Huh.
Oof.
Izzy said, "Oof."
Never.
All right, let's go here. Let's see if this is better here. Actually, that's not bad because here's the body right here. You can read that. So we'll start from the body here, and then go from there. All right, so here we go. GameStop store managers and retail staff says the company is taking increasingly desperate measures to shore up sales as the video game retail chain struggles with a massive loss of revenue caused mainly by a broad consumer shift to digital purchases. I'm not going to read this whole thing, guys. I'm going to pick different paragraphs, pieces of the article here that I found kind of interesting. Polygon said that in more than a dozen interviews with Polygon, the current former GameStop employee spoke of a tightening regime of strict sales targets and intrusive customer scripts designed to extract as much value as possible from the company's dwindling base. The employees that they spoke to were concerned about the future of the company. Most reported their consumer numbers had decreased noticeably in the last year. In quote, "I've seen a change in the sheer desperation the company has towards its profit margins," said one store manager with multiple years' experience at the company. Another quote here, "The company is frantic and distrustful," said one assistant manager. "You could feel it in every message they send. The structure is falling apart and they're scrambling." Another quote here, "I think they'll close 1,000 stores this year," said one former store manager with many years retail experience. "They have cut costs. The game's retail market is dying." Another manager said, "My store is well known for solid sales performance, but customer traffic has dipped significantly in the past 2 years. Aside from expected high traffic days like Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and major game release days, we're missing our daily sales plans almost every single day." Polygon does note that the interviews were conducted via email or phone in order to protect the identities of these employees. Now, we know about their declining sales. We know about the store closures. That's nothing new. It's something that GameStop has talked about. We know that they're pretty bullish, I think, with regards to the launch of the new consoles. And this last quote here, I don't think here at the bottom here, above tech trades, where you see, "I don't think senior executives even believe that this is just a cyclical downturn," said a former executive who left last year. "They're just trying to keep investors happy and pay their bonuses before they parachute out." Now, I got to say, guys, that piece from a former senior executive really kind of perked my ears up a little bit. So I want to go to you, Dizzy, first, since you are our distinguished guest this afternoon. What are your initial thoughts on some of the quotes that I just read?
Well, just kind of like a little bit of the background of what I have. I don't work for GameStop. I never have worked for GameStop. So some of it may come off as where I'm on the customer's end. So for like a lot of individuals who are going to be listening, I'm the same as yours. But I do live where GameStop's corporate office is actually hosted out of. There's a lot of things that you see out here that we'll kind of get into later. Whenever I see the initial thoughts, to me, this is actually nothing new. This is stuff that I've actually been seeing for quite some time. having friends who have actually worked at the corporate office. Now that's a little bit different from being in the stores, which is kind of weird because, I know that we kind of talked a little bit before the show. I'm kind of with you, Rep, is whenever I've gone to a store, I don't think I've really ever had a bad experience. Almost everybody is pretty knowledgeable about what they're talking about. And if they don't know, they're going to find somebody who does know. I've actually never gone in there and had anybody use any kind of console war talk or anything like that. So while it's not surprising seeing some of these quotes, at the same time, it kind of sucks because this is like one of the last bastions as far as the big retail for games. Where it's supposed to be specifically for the game.
Yeah, I mean you're right. I mean outside of I guess Walmart, I wouldn't even consider Walmart a traditional gaming retail store, right? But they do sell games at very competitive prices. But Walmart has the advantage they can buy in bulk. They also don't rely solely on the revenues from game sales, right?
Yeah.
But to your point, Dizzy, I've never really had I've never really had an issue at a GameStop. Like I've never had anyone be disrespectful. Try to, years ago, I did have some guys try to push, a used sales game on me. Hey, you should buy the used one because it's like $5 cheaper. Stuff like that. And I wouldn't say push. I mean, to me, it's just that's part of. Look, they're there. That's their job.
Part of their job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the big things is you'll hear a lot of people who complain about going into a GameStop and they're talking about like, oh, well, they tried to do this, they tried to do this. Unfortunately, it's their job to kind of nag you. It's not their fault. They're just there to make a living, just like you are whenever you're at your job.
Retail is very. I'm sorry, I just want to make this point quick. Retail is a very sales-driven environment. I mean, that's what it is.
Oh yeah. Absolutely is. But to be honest, I love whenever they offer a Game Informer, even though I'm already signed up. I'm like, I'm glad to see this magazine still kicking.
Yes, me too. Actually, I love it. I look for my game. My kids started stealing. It made me angry. But that's cool though because they like to look at the pictures, right? Like my 10-year-old, my 5-year-old like to flip through the magazine, so that's kind of cool.
We don't have Edge anymore, so Game Informer's like one of the last ones.
One of the last bastions, yeah. And I grew up with GamePro, Electronic Games Monthly, Edge. I mean, yeah, those are not there anymore. So we have online media now, but to me, it's not the same to me at least as opening up that magazine and sitting on your couch and But I've never had any experiences. I know I've never had anyone pressure me at GameStop. I've never had anyone act rude towards me or made me feel like they were trying to push me in a way I didn't want to go as a consumer. And I'll share this real quick story before I go to Gaming Forte. But what was interesting is, the value that I find in GameStop again is being able to trade in games when I want to. But to me, that's like their ecosystem, right? That's what makes them unique as a retailer. That you can go in, you can trade your you trade in your games for store credit to be used for future purchases. They had like a stacking type thing 3 years ago before the Xbox Series or the Xbox One X came out. And I forget what it was, but if you traded in like 7 or 11 games, you would like stack how much trading value. And I think I got like $300 and something of trade in, and you use that to buy the Xbox One X. And then I know people that got like $700. I think Eric Jackson actually had like $1,500 of store credit from that deal. But when I was talking to the manager at my local GameStop, which is like literally a mile from my house, he was telling me that he was surprised to know that a lot of people coming in to that store did not know about like the GameStop ecosystem. That's how he was describing it, like the ecosystem, signing up for the the Power Rewards membership, where now they give you $5 a month and store credit. and you get, obviously you get the subscription, you get the trade-in stuff, you get the daily deal sent to you via email, which there's some really good deals in there sometimes. But he told me, he goes, people don't understand the ecosystem. He goes, I've had people coming in the store and they didn't know that they could trade in their used games. He's like, and I was shocked. And I was shocked too. I'm like, what do you mean they don't know? Like, how do you not know? That's like going to McDonald's and not knowing that they sell a Big Mac. It's just common knowledge to me. At least to me it is, right? But apparently that's not the case. But Forte, I want to ask you, because you have an intimate understanding, some knowledge here of GameStop. What are your thoughts when you hear some of these things, some of these quotes from current and former GameStop employees?
For me, it's always been the conversation whereas I can understand how some people can take different things to happen in the job that they work at. It's just more of, did you know what you were getting yourself involved into at that point? To me, GameStop has been GameStop for what, 12, ever since I've been shopping there, it's pretty much been that way. And I've never seen this always seems to be part of the norm. It just seems like it's more and more now because of the situation the company finds itself in, or the perceived part of where the company sees themselves in. They're currently trying to restructure as much as they can, and that's not a secret. These are all things that they talked about publicly in different financial reports and investment calls. Starting with mobile, that wasn't a thing that the company was super into when it first started, but that's something that they decided to dive into because they felt like it would help them become more profitable. And then the same thing with collectibles, and collectibles is another thing that helps them be more profitable. I remember a time when people used to praise GameStop, say, hey, they got to do something different. They got to find a different way of bringing customers into their store. And that's what they're doing. Now, a lot of people, everybody knows this, the lifeblood of the company when it comes to what GameStop does is, trading the trades of used goods and stuff. So, they give you monetary gains. They take something for you to be able to sell it to, be able to make that money back on the back end, to be able to buy the new things that come from a publisher. And I think that is the biggest thing that people kind of overlook. This is all stuff that every business does. When I worked for Circuit City, I used to work for them right up until they closed. It was the same thing. Customer engagement was the biggest focus, and it really didn't change. Now, how they went about interacting with each customer didn't really change as much either. It was just every customer became more valuable. You got to make sure that you're spending more time with a customer, so it gives you a chance to actually talk to them about more things. And I think that's the one thing that people are kind of forgetting in everything. When it's slower, you got more time to talk about different things. And some of the conversations I've had, it really speaks to how important that customer engagement is, especially to the people that work there. They feel like they're talking to friends, they're talking to other gamers and stuff, and that's the most important thing. So none of this surprises me. It's just more of the same. Every time something changes or something different happens in a corporation this big, you get a lot of people that don't like the direction, don't love the direction, but you always hear the people that don't like it more, because those are the more vocal people, and those are the ones that are willing to talk to the news, the media outlets about all the different things that's going on. Because GameStop operates over close to 4,000, if not more, stores than that. And this is still a lot of people, and like you said, they have people on the executive level that used to work there. They say some of the stuff too, and that's kind of new to the scenario. But it's not like a outpouring of people just saying this has been a terrible experience. Even when you read that some of those posts, a lot of people are still saying, I enjoy the job, I enjoy working there, I enjoy the customer interactions I have. But then on the other end, you're saying stuff like this too. So how much are you really enjoying it if that is the case? That's the part that I take kind of like I wonder about when I read that article and things like that.
So you're questioning. I don't want to say the motivations, but maybe the perspective of the person making those quotes. I mean, and look, I'm not going to say that everyone, the former employees, like the former executive who made that statement, about them executives just wanting to parachute out, so they're trying to paint things as rosy as possible so they can get a nice parachute, golden parachute. And I don't want to say that, every, the employees that were let go are disgruntled, but I mean, there is, I mean, I've been in sales, prior to the work that I'm doing now. I was in sales, and I was in a very cutthroat industry, and, there was people that just didn't cut the mustard, and, and they took it personally, and it wasn't because, the company that they were working for was a bad company. It just wasn't a good fit, right? It wasn't a good personal fit for them, a cultural fit, and it wasn't a good fit for us, and so, but I would see them go into like Glassdoor and I knew and I kind of had some inclination to who it was, because they started saying things that kind of, they're like, oh, I know who's saying that, because he or she's talking about an event that I witnessed happen or I'm aware of, but I think some of that I think you kind of have to maybe take that into account too, that perhaps some of that could be coming from that point of view. Questioning what's the motivation with these anonymous sources? Why are they saying these things? Again, I'm not saying that everything is all, sunshine and roses at GameStop. But
it's not sunshines and roses at any company you work for. There's true. Checks and balances and everything. People got to realize that when you're not working for yourself. You don't. That's the American dream. When you work for yourself, you do whatever you want to do. If you want to go out of your way to make your customers very, very happy and responsive to you, you have that option to do when you work for yourself. And even to an extent, I feel like when I look at some, I actually read this morning when you said, because I seen the article, then I was like just glanced over, but I actually just really read through it today, and it's pretty extensive what people are, the way they break it down and the different things that people are saying. And I always look at it as like, man, where are these experiences that all these people are having? Like, this is stuff that has been talked about. I mean, maybe more now just because we have places like Facebook and Twitter where it's easier for you to get your point across or your news out there, but different articles have Polygon, Kotaku, they've all written articles about the dissatisfaction of the associates that work at the company. And, this is probably the 300th article about the death of GameStop and where it's going. So this is nothing new. It's just the latest thing in a long list of things that people want to click on and watch and listen to. And the funny thing is, I watched a couple of YouTubers and they talked about this, and they said, some of them are going to be super sad if GameStop was to just disappear, because they know how valuable they are in that ecosystem, but they also understand that the ecosystem is what's letting GameStop down, not GameStop per se themselves, because it's not like the company that company hasn't changed. That's what people need to realize. You still walk into a store, you still pre-order games, you still subscribe to a membership there. They're still going to ask you about warranties. I mean, has any of that changed since you ever been shopping at GameStop?
No, I mean, all that's what I'm saying. Like, I was surprised I was surprised, but then also I'm not surprised, because I'm sure there's probably people that really feel like this. But I also know, having been in retail, that every region is different. Just like for the company I work with now, every practice that we have in the U.S. or overseas is going to be different in terms of its own culture, if you will. Like you have a company that has its identity, its brand, its culture, but you have subcultures within that culture. And my experience has I've seen in my experience that, and again, I mean, I was in the staffing industry. It's fucking cutthroat. It really is.
Yeah.
The staffing industry is cutthroat. I mean, people stealing, requisitions from you, candidates. I mean, it's trying to steal deals. Trying to get compensated for bonuses that they don't deserve. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I've lived that. It's a nightmare. But I got to say that I also have worked, and I do believe this. I think that a healthy company culture is really dependent on leadership. It all comes down from the top. It really does. But I also have had experiences where, like my local branch, when I was in the staffing industry, I had wonderful leadership. We were one of the most successful branches in the U.S., right? Not to toot my own horn, I think I was number 3 in executive consulting revenue in the U.S. For business developers, and we took a trip down to the Bahamas. It was great, but the leadership, even though we were successful, we were a team. But that team that we had, that camaraderie, that family type environment, was because that's how management. That's the culture that management promoted within at time. Right. And not every office was like that. I mean, there was offices that had high turnover, where people were disgruntled. People hated the company. It sucked. People are mean here. You can't make money. But that was more of a leadership thing, or lack thereof, where you had managers managing and not being leaders. That's a real thing, in companies. And Forte, you probably have seen that, and Dizzy, you probably have seen that too, in the line of work that you guys do. So when I read this stuff, I also factor that into consideration. Where are these people speaking from? Like, I'd be interested in knowing, are they part? Are they in? Because look, I've no doubt, because also my retail experience, I used to work for a limited company. And Forte, you mentioned, Circuit City. I'm sure there was certain regions that had better work culture than other regions.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, different stores in the same region.
So you got to admit then, Forte, that perhaps that's the case here too, where you have people that maybe weren't in the ideal environment for GameStop, but that's only probably representative of that specific area or region of GameStop, and not necessarily the company as a whole. And that's that piece wasn't touched upon in the Polygon article. I thought it was a very interesting article, but that's the piece that I felt like should have been included. Because I think what's going to happen is you're going to get people that read this, and I think they're going to say, wait a minute, all GameStops are bad.
Yeah. Blanket statement at that point.
Exactly. So, and Dizzy, like you said, you've never had a bad experience at GameStop, right?
No. Anytime I've gone in there, I've always had a good experience. I can't say anything bad about any of my interactions. Hell, I can even think back to, I think it was Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. I left for some reason. I pulled my ID out of my wallet. I don't know why I pulled it out of my wallet, but the following day I went to a GameStop, and clearly I was of age, beard and all, to purchase this. But he was doing his job. He's like, I got to have ID, unfortunately, because you're under a certain age. And he's like, do you have anything? Maybe do you have a tattoo? And I was like, yeah, I got a tattoo. And he goes, okay, I can use that. So, I mean, I've been in situations where they've gone above and beyond. And I know that we talked a little bit about, everything that they got to ask you. I don't know if any of y'all have been to another store called The Buckle. It's a clothing store. Mm-hmm. You want to talk about an annoyance when you walk into a store for no reason at all. That's one of those stores where it's an annoyance for no reason at all. Unfortunately, over here at GameStop, they're doing their job. Over there, they're trying to get that extra sale. I'm trying to put on pants, and you're throwing extra clothes over top, saying like, "Hey, this would look great with that." I don't care. I just wanted to try on these pants. I've never had somebody try to like force down the GameStop credit card whenever I've gone into a GameStop. So
right,
I didn't. No one's ever offered me that credit card.
Most people don't even know that card exists.
No, I became aware of it because of, I don't know, I think there was an advertisement in the store, and I said, oh, let me apply for that. But no one has ever now you go to Best Buy?
Oh yeah.
Sir, would you like to apply for the Best Buy credit card
today?
Yes, or Forte, if you don't have one, would you like to get no interest financing for 2 years?
Right.
Yeah.
But remember when that article came out, what, years ago, people was like GameStop's forcing people to, pitch credit cards. But you, like you said, you just found out about it, and it's not even a conversation or a topic of conversation in your store.
But okay, let me ask you guys something, because you bring up an interesting point here, Forte. And actually, I want to go to the live chat real quick, because Bad Bit Games, who we had on yesterday, Bad Bit, what is going on, sir?
Welcome to the stream, Gregor Von Doom. How are you doing today, sir?
Oh, there is Mr. Gregor
I
Von.
missed you. I just want you to know I missed you so much, man. You are a beacon of light in this community, and I truly appreciate you and everything you do when it comes to supporting this fantastic and fabulous podcast called Brap and this Brap rant today. I just want you to know, I want you to have a great freaking day, man. And I love everything about you. I love your face, and I love your energy, and I love the laughs you gave the chat all day yesterday. So I just want you to know that, man. I appreciate you.
Well said, sir. Hey, Gregor Von Doom, I'm saying he's the beacon of shade. So
yes, he is.
Yeah. So Bad Bit Games, again, who was a guest last night on Brap, said the Tri-State GameStop is the most cutthroat business I've ever been a part of, for sure. And then somebody, Enrico Kitching said, "Is there really such strict targets you have to meet, or else you get fired?" That's actually in there. And it actually, let me go back to this. It looks like one of the. Hold on a sec here, guys. Let me pull this back up here, because I want to pull this article back up. There is a part in the article that really caught my eye too. I gotta get one of those stream decks, Forte.
Yo, they're beautiful. I love mine.
You like push the button and shit and make shit happen.
Yeah, just transition from screen to screen. You could have already had this up and going, and already on the next part of the conversation.
You know who sells stream decks?
GameStop does.
Yeah, exactly. Great plug. All right.
They also take them in trade too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Uh-huh.
Where's the thing about? Hold on a sec here, guys.
At least I think they do. I haven't checked lately.
Another store manager. Hold on. I'm trying to find this. There was something in this article about.
What is it, the one with the 50 rigorous checks?
Yeah, checking. Polygon has shown. Okay, here we go. Polygon has been shown evidence of target sheets that managers are required to fill out, demonstrating that they have given purchase quotes to 50 customers on their used phones every week, with 5 leading to a transaction. I got to be honest with you. I don't have a GameStop in my area that sells phones anymore.
No GameStop sells phones anymore.
I have to disagree with that.
Oh, you know what? You know what? Now that I think about it, that's speaking to absolution. I definitely can't speak in absolution on that.
So
go ahead.
There's several GameStops out here. Again, the corporate area, several GameStops where they actually have banners that are outside saying that we sell phones and we buy phones. It's actually a big push in this area, which is actually one of the things that they talked about, and some YouTubers have brought up, where you go into a GameStop and the conversation flips from where you're talking about games to you're talking about phones. Now, when I go into my GameStop, which is just literally, I can walk to it, they don't have it as heavily there as some of the others that I've walked into, and it's kind of one of those things where it's forced upon them. They have to talk about it. They have to bring it up. I only know this from conversation, but yeah, there's GameStops out here where it's pretty much it's pushed. They have to do it.
That's fascinating, because in my area, when I lived closer to Washington D.C., the GameStops here did have cell phones, but then at some point they stopped carrying them, and even when they carried them, no one ever asked me, hey, do you want to trade in your phone? Or, that just was never a conversation. Now, again, this is a couple years ago. Maybe like you're saying, Dizzy, maybe this is just maybe some of the stores are doing this. And I wonder if some of them are doing this to maybe just generate additional revenue. because maybe they're not generating enough revenue from that traditional model of, selling games. Maybe I mean I don't know. I'm just taking a stab and guess here. To me, that would be the only thing that, because if you're not doing it company wide, why are you selecting certain stores? Unless you know that there's a market demographic, of consumer in that region that is going to trade in their cell phones. People are going to come into your store to buy cell phones. That's the only thing that would make sense to me. But who knows? Who knows?
I mean, in this situation, again, because I live at where their corporate office is, it's very likely we're a situation where it starts here, see how it does, and then slowly trickle to other regions. So that's actually not an uncommon thing for corporations to do.
Yeah. Kind of like a pilot program.
Yeah. When I worked at Olive Garden, the store that I worked at, because of our business, we were a tester store. So when they wanted to try a new product to see how people liked it, they would start it off at a store like ours. And if it worked, then they do it company wide. So it's not surprising. There's a couple of other things that are actually out here that are pretty interesting. I'll talk about later, but yeah, that's one of the things that are out here. It was actually one of the first. It caught me off guard the first time. I didn't actually go to the one that I frequent the most. I went into another one because I wanted to get the Pokemon Switch, the Lite, and this was the only store that had it. And they pretty much they had to flip it over. So we buy phones. Are you interested in selling your phone? It's like, no, I use my phone. Thank you. It's kind of a weird question.
Yeah.
And they explained it, and I get it. Again, in the stores and the store level, they got to do their job. They got to do what they're told to do. So
yeah, I mean, they're in the business to drive revenue. I mean, that's what retail sales is. I mean, it's a sales role. And not everyone is comfortable in a sales capacity. So that's what I was saying too. Like when I think about who these anonymous sources were, maybe this also wasn't their bag either. Maybe because it does take a certain type of individual to do a sales role. You can't be shy. You can't fear rejection. It is a constant asking. I mean, I used to.
The rule of thumbs.
Yes, I used to.
90% of the people are going to tell you no when you're in sales. You got to get that through your mind at the very beginning of it.
Exactly. Rejection is a part of the game. Like you always are going to get rejected. Like majority of the time, as you said, Forte, it's a great point. But I just, to your point about maybe a pilot program, still that to me though, but it's been years since at least in my area where I've seen even phones, like the phones were there. Now they're not there anymore. So that's what I'm saying. I wonder if it's just a regional thing and maybe ties into maybe supplementing revenue for the stores that are underperforming, where maybe there is a market for, cell phone trades or something. I don't know. Again, that's just my opinion. I don't know. I'm not basing this. I don't want to lead anyone and say that I have some inside knowledge and into that. And that's actually what's happening. But that's just my opinion. Potentially, maybe why we're seeing this disparity in different stores. Like people in the live chat are saying different things too. Like D. Floyd says he's local GameStop. They ask him a bunch of stupid questions. He said it's now all toys. I've seen that too. I've seen like my local GameStop has really been big on bringing in like those toys and T-shirts and like novelties, I guess, like collector's editions things, like statues and stuff, and stuff like that. So and then I've been to other stores that don't have as much of that stuff in it. And aren't they? Is there like a store that's more like that? I forget what they call it. That's more like novelty stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
I know the chat about to get on you just like they got on me yesterday.
I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to interrupt.
I didn't either.
I think that what you were looking for, Brep, is Think Geek. When they bought out Think Geek, Think Geek had a lot of stores out there, and there's still some stores, depending on where you're at. But for the most part, they did shut down the majority of those stores, and they want to move all of that commodities into the GameStops themselves. I know that they had been working on that for years.
Yeah. By the way, guys, I just want to go to live chat. Am I botting?
botting pretty bad right now.
Gregory's like Enrique stayed on the beat.
Hold on, hey, guys, I'm gonna drop out and be right back. Okay.
Oh man, that's funny. I think there's one in corporate. There's one out of LA. Then there's the one in Florida. I know they opened a bunch of them, but we didn't have one here in Michigan. Yeah, you still are a little bit.
How about now?
You stopped talking. You said less than 2 words.
Oh my god. Still botting?
Yes, you are.
Shit. All right, hold on.
Yeah, you got to fix that, bro.
I'll be back. Go ahead. I'll be back. Check. 1, 2, 2. Check. Check 1, 2, 2. Check. My body big bad. Body pretty bad. Check. Check. Checking. 1, 2, 3. Check. 1, 2. Am I buying? Hey, what's going on, everyone? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay.
Be sabotaging Brad.
Hey, Forte, am I still botting?
Oh, you're good.
Your body in my heart, sir.
Oh my God, dude, Gregor Von Doob. You know what?
As soon as he came in, let the bot session begin.
Dude, Gregor Von Doob. As soon as oh my God, I saw the live chat, boy. This is what I get.
2011 better than Brad's audio.
Jesus, man.
Oh,
Gregor Von Doob said Johnny 5 sounded less robot than Brap.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Oh my God.
I don't feel too bad now. I feel a little better.
Yeah, Slow-Mo's saying there's an echo or something. I don't know if there's an echo.
I don't hear it.
Yeah, I don't know either. But thank you for holding the fort down. So what did I miss, gentlemen?
Oh no, we were talking about Thing Geek and the direction of collectibles and where they're heading with that. I mean, at this point, it seems like they make way more money off of collectibles than anything else in the store. That's why you see half the store be it.
Yeah, well, they're also getting into the arena gaming stuff. Like that's kind of a thing for them, right?
I mean, they literally just built who knows how much they spent to partner with the Dallas Cowboys when they made the Complexity arena down there in Grapevine, or it might be in Fort Worth. I don't know where. Is where?
Arlington.
Oh yeah, because isn't it literally on the grounds of the Cowboy stuff?
No, it's actually a little bit away from the Cowboys.
It's a little ways from there.
Mm.
Yeah. I like the logo.
What they did is there was an older stadium, or it's not a stadium, but an older arena that wasn't being utilized aside from like little municipal stuff here and there, a couple conventions. They bought that out. They fixed it up. It wasn't GameStop that bought it out. They're one of the partners now.
They're one of the partners in it. Yeah.
Here's what's really sad about it though is when you go there, aside from the GameStop store that's on the inside of there, you would not know that they have anything to do with it.
Right.
Which that's actually one of my gripes is in this area, there's 2 esports stadiums and there's very little recognition about having any of your presence be felt. Again, aside from that store, that's no different from the Atlanta Falcons having a Chick-fil-A on the inside, which, hell, they're not even open on Sundays. So,
oh yeah, that's right. That's kind of crazy to have a football game with no Chick-fil-A. You would think you got a bit. What other day y'all went off? The Falcons are playing today. What other day y'all went off?
That's wild. That makes that. I mean, that would be their biggest revenue day.
It definitely would be their biggest revenue day, and that they don't have a Monday night and a Thursday night the same year. So
wow,
they're really open up like maybe once.
Wow, that is wild. I do want to go to one more quote here.
God's chicken.
Yeah, I want to go one more quote here. Another employee said that in their district, failure to hit targets was punished with a warning, or 3 warnings leading to employment termination. Now, I don't know if that's company-wide or just for that district, but I will say that obviously it is sales roles. They are KPIs. There are certain metrics you have to hit, revenue being the key. And yeah, if you don't hit your sales goals, you will get terminated. But I don't know how egregious that might be for that region. So again, for me, it's kind of like, okay, I understand. Maybe that's egregious for that region, for the company as a whole. But can either one of you maybe shed light on that? Is that kind of standard?
Well, I mean, the only thing I can say is when it comes to setting goals for people, revenue can't be one of them. And that's why I have a hard time believing that part of it, because when it comes to the thing, you only can control what you can control. You can't control how many people walk through your door. You can't. So revenue is far down that list. Now, the whole quote sheet, I can see that just because if you're on average in your store seeing about 50 to 60 people a day, basically just saying, I want you to quote people, at least one item, per day, and get this many of them throughout the day that you're talking to people. I can see that being a thing, just because it's a thing you control. They want you to do 10 to 15 a day. You're going to see more than 10 to 15 people a day. I mean, it ain't that slow in GameStop right now. At least I don't believe. But then when it comes to like your power up and reservations, I mean, that all comes down to a percentage. People look at numbers, like, what are you giving a goal on a percentage? Or are you giving a goal on a number? Because you can only control what you control, and that's all based on the amount of people you have in your store versus on how many people you see on that day. And a person that sees 10 people, technically all you got to do is get 1 or 2 cards in that 10 people, and you're at goal. People look at people, and this is just looking at it from a sales point of view. If you do what you need to do, and the people you have, you're going to be fine with your numbers. Your numbers are going to be fine, because it's not an outlandish number that they probably want you to hit. Like, what, 10% this, 5%, 15, 20% that. Think about it. Like warranties and stuff. What they probably want you to hit, I don't know, just a number. Just throw a number out there. You just got to hit a percentage of that number of people that walk in your store to get it. Like system sales, they want you to probably get the warranty on a system, and then probably half the people that buy a system. Well, what happens if you sell one system, that person buys it, and then you sell another one and they don't buy it? You might only sell those 2 systems for the whole day. You're at 50%. I mean, I would think 50% of anything on a conversion rate is great for a company, but I think when people try to think too hard about it, it's the one thing that's really, really off about it for me. Like, too much.
Yo, Forte, man. You gotta talk to Gregor Von Doom, man.
What do you say now? Because I'm not botting.
No.
Oh,
man.
God, here we go, man. Look, man. The Pokemon plushies are just to make people laugh, man. It's just to make you. And it ain't like I'm doing any nefarious things with them, man. I literally just took a picture with Pikachu. I took a picture with Charizard. That's all we did.
Forte. But no, to your point though, like, I think you bring up a great point. Like, I see, and I'm not trying to pick on this article, but I'm just trying to get people to think maybe critically about certain aspects of the article where you see things like this. Like, another employee said that it is failure to hit targets was punished with a warning, right?
It takes a lot for you. Like, being a manager, it takes a lot for you to get to that point. Like, it has to be a consistent downward trend.
But how about an associate, though?
At that point.
Here's my question, though. For your area, how stiff is competition from other companies? Like,
well, see, and that's that's the one thing I always preface when I say that, because every region and every area is different. Yeah. I like you being that close to home office. I think just stores there in general, and this is just me guessing without even knowing. I would think the pressure there is a little bit more ratchet up, probably not even by the company, probably by just the associates themselves, because they feel since any moment someone from corporate can walk in their door, they probably feel like they need to do that and be a little bit more what people are saying in this article, but no one really knows that because we don't know where these are based out of, but yeah, it's definitely based on how much competitive they're in your area. Like around us, there's a bunch of people that do sell a bunch of used games, and GameStop has kind of outlast them. There is still some place, it's like called Disc Replay, and there's still places like that in our area, but for the most part, they pretty much just use the 2 companies against each other to get the best deal. And GameStop doesn't do any type of adjustments or anything like that because they feel like they don't have to. And people just, decide to go where they want to go with their money. But for me, when I look at it, I'm like, okay, so where is it? When there's smoke, there's fire. Can't nobody, say some of this stuff that people are saying aren't true, but how much of it is self-inflicted based on what you're putting yourself through versus what the company is putting you through? Because sometimes I think what the company does and what you do on your own is two of the complete different things.
Well, sure.
Because if you feel like you're pressured to do something, you're going to do it.
So here's where I will kind of like diverge from where you guys are standing about this, where I'm kind of on the opposite end with you guys, because I believe full-heartedly that a lot of this is going on. Because it's not the first, like, even though that this Polygon article is new, it's not the first that we've heard anything of this. And when you take one account, okay, that where we're talking about an individual. We take several accounts. There's bad apples out there, several accounts. But once you start getting to the point where hundreds of employees are actually reaching out, I know that we kind of talked a little bit about it before. If anybody's seen the YouTuber Camelot331, I mean, there's a lot of tea that's being spilt there. And here's what the sad part is. This is stepping away from the storefront. And again, don't get me wrong, because I love the GameStops that I go into. I love the individuals that I deal with whenever I go into there. I think that there's a huge disconnect with GameStop corporate and gamers and their consumers that is starting to put some of these things into place without actually thinking things through. And here's why I say this. Looking at something, the last thing that I want to talk about whenever I'm going into a GameStop is I'm not in there for cell phone service. I'm not in there to sell a cell phone. I'm not in there to sell an iPod. I'm in there to buy a game, buy a peripheral, maybe find out some information about a game or something like that, right? Because it's GameStop. That's what I know them as. Maybe I want to go in there. I'll be honest. I'll go to a GameStop if I want to go get something like a statue to add to my collection, a pop vinyl, something like that. So there's certain things that whenever I go into a GameStop, I'll start to expect. Now, when you start adding some of these extra things, now I know that they bought, was it Spring Mobile a few years back?
Yeah, Spring Mobile and what is the other one with a C? Cricket,
yeah. So we see it didn't pan out too well, for whatever, for what it's worth. But now they're kind of stepping back into it. And I kind of blame a little bit of this on the new CEO, who literally has no gaming experience, does not know his clientele. And because he knows how to do sales, he's expecting that these new things that he's starting to implement towards the company are going to be things that are going to be successful to drag it out, such as buying these cell phones and actually sending it out. And that's an actual literal thing where they're actually buying these cell phones and they are sending them to foreign countries.
Hey, iDizzy?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you, man. But we have some breaking news. Big shout out to Slow-Mo Backslap. Give me a sec here, guys. I'm going to pull this up here so you guys can see. Give me just a sec here.
I saw them talking about the coronavirus, so something happened. Happened?
Yep. Here we go. We have some breaking news. The Slow-Mo, thank you for mentioning this in the live chat. We did a little news blip, right? Breaking news: PlayStation is canceling its GDC 2020 appearances, citing coronavirus concerns. By the way, it's not just Sony PlayStation. Facebook is also canceling its GDC appearance, citing coronavirus concerns. Wow. I got to be honest with you guys. I am not surprised by this at all.
Nope.
I have been reading a lot of interesting things about the coronavirus. There are predictions out there that 40 to about 70% of the population, when this thing is all said and done, could be infected by the coronavirus. This is the global population, not population of the U.S. When I first read that, I'm like, holy shit, 70% of the U.S. No, it's 40 to 70% of the global population. Now, again, these are projections. No one knows for sure. We don't know how this thing is going to, spread. And that's why I was telling people, I saw people on Twitter saying, oh, well, no one's died from it. In Boston, there's only one case. You know, there's only one case in the U.S. It's not about cases. This is about containing.
Contamination. Yeah. Containing contamination.
Yeah, not contamination, but they don't want contamination. They want to contain and prevent. This is all guys. This is all prevention, preventable measures, and giving yourself enough time to prepare. If they don't, here's the thing. I've been reading a lot about the coronavirus. If they don't contain this thing and it spreads like wildfire because it's very contagious. If they don't contain this, you got to remember something. Medical facilities aren't necessarily readily
they're not
equipped or prepared to handle something like this at a mass level, at a pandemic level. They just don't. There's no vaccine yet. They're working on that. I think actually just today I read also that they have just figured out the protein model for the actual virus itself. They are playing with HIV and Ebola medicines as a potential way to create a vaccine for the coronavirus. But I did see a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, there's only one case here, so what's the big deal? All of it's in China, or does that mean they're going to cancel stuff in Japan in September?" Look, the fact of the matter is, this is a very it's a serious situation. I mean,
thing, man.
Look, I said this last night on BRAP. I work for a multinational firm, and this has been a major talking point for us. It really has. We have people overseas on engagements. We have clients that are overseas. We have people coming back and forth from the U.S., from Asia, from Europe. It is a concern. There's protocols being put in place to address this, to minimize potentially any impact of new infections that this virus could you could have here in the U.S. And not just U.S. but other parts. So this is why I said what I said earlier about the whole console war thing. Like, guys, put that nonsense aside. This is a real thing. Facebook is not in the. I mean, Facebook has Facebook Gaming with Oculus. They're not attending GDC. And Facebook, they're headquartered in San Francisco, outside San Francisco, where the GDC event is. So, there you have it. What are you guys' thoughts on this? I'll go with you, iDizzy. What are your thoughts about this, man?
I mean, that's some, part of my language, some scary shit. Especially me in my situation. I don't know, John, so I'm battling cancer.
Yeah.
So my immune system's already weakened. So something like that, I mean, it sounds to me like it would be a death sentence. I go out and I contract something like that. And this is hitting people who, are just regular individuals, aren't dealing with that. So, I mean, I can't blame a company for wanting to protect their employees. It sucks. The only thing that we can hope is that they get a grasp on this, that they figure this out. They find something to help kind of contain this or to battle it. Because as of right now, it just doesn't look good. And like you said, it's highly contagious. The more that it spreads, the worse it's just going to get.
Yeah, and I do want to preface something here too. Like, it doesn't have a high mortality rate per se, but
absolutely doesn't.
But iDizzy, to something you just said, and by the way, man, you're always on my mind, man, and I wish you the best. Cancer has hit close home to me. My mom she's been in remission for 22 years, a breast cancer survivor. But this was 22 years ago. And it's still something that's always in the back of her mind. So I'm always thinking about you, man. Thoughts and prayers always, bro. But iDizzy, to your point, man, you're right. I mean, like, the people that have most of the people that have passed away because of this particular virus are people that have that have medical conditions, and they've mostly been senior citizens. But the point is that it's all about preventing. We're so connected globally now. As a species. International travel, like you remember the SARS scare of 2003, I think it was. There wasn't as much international travel back then. It was under 1 billion or something travelers a year or something to that effect. It's well over 1 billion now. I was reading that when I was reading about the coronavirus outbreak. But it really is about preventing. I mean, I keep seeing people saying, "Oh, well, only one person has it, so why can't they come to the show?" Well, it's not about one person having it. It's about, or no one's died yet in the U.S. It's not about that. It's about prevention and giving yourself enough time to prepare for what eventually might end up becoming a health issue in the U.S. too. I mean, as recent as last week, and even Hawaii yesterday, the state of Hawaii said some of the kits that the CDC has sent out, that's the Center for Disease Control, or I believe is that the, I know it's the CDC. I think that's
CDC.
So the CDC even admitted that the test kits that they sent out, some of those test kits for testing this virus are faulty. So, I mean, there's some issues here in terms of preparedness and getting ready for what could potentially be an issue even here in the U.S. This is going to be interesting. I mean, I don't, guys, I'm starting to think, who, let me ask you guys something. Who is surprised if the next gen consoles get delayed because of this?
I mean, at this point, just for safety reasons, people, I almost feel like it should, because this is the thing that's going to happen. Depending on what side, because people just can't divorce fandom and fanboy war from stuff like this when they should be able to. It's going to come to a situation, if these systems release on time and this epidemic continues to become bigger and bigger, then it's going to be these companies put these people's lives at risk that help get these systems out to make monetary gain. And at a point like right now, I mean, granted, they haven't announced any release dates or anything, so they're not tied to anything concrete. But I wouldn't be surprised if this actually really does delay, because people were thinking like, oh, it's a virus and, it's going around right now and everybody's, sick over there, and it's going to get better over time. It's just, we got to wait it out and just wait for everything just to pan itself out. But it's getting worse. And now you got like you said, the first case over here in America, in Boston. And then then you got all these different, especially if you're going to cancel your shows and stuff, then what's the next step? Because right now you're protecting, like Dizzy said, protecting your employees. You don't want to put them in harm's way. You don't want to, subject them to any type of chances of contracting this in a different way or anything. So you're just gonna play on the side of caution. Well, what about the people that are already there on ground zero where these systems are being made at? What are they doing for those people? Because it's already happened there. And that's what I think the next step is going to be for some of these companies, depending on if they can get it under control anytime soon there.
Well, I don't know about a delay. I actually agree with Slow-Mo in the chat. I could see a shortage happening. I don't know if anybody read
that would
earlier.
Be the main thing that happens.
Apple actually is moving all of their production from China to Taiwan. So I think that you're going to see that actually happen before we start seeing anything about a delay. I would not be surprised if we see Microsoft decide that, hey, let's jump back up into those Brazilian manufacturing plants.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So I could see delay, I think, might be pushing him. I could see shortages being more likely in this kind of situation.
Well, it really depends on how much they actually order and how much is already on site that doesn't have to be built from scratch. Maybe they already ordered enough for, both companies already ordered 5 to 6 million pieces of the unit to be put together to have that many systems. And yeah, you're right. Because I do agree. I think most of this is going to be shortages as of right now, but no one really knows what the yield of how much they ordered is so far. I would think that they'll still release, even if they have shortages, they'll still release on time. It would just get pre-order to make sure you get one if that's something that you really, really want. But
you want them eBay prices.
Yeah, exactly. Think about that. How many people are going to go out and get these systems knowing this information and know that they're going to probably be scarcity out there? I mean, if you don't pre-order and you really want one, you're gonna be playing. You're gonna pay $600-700+ for it probably.
What's sad about that? That's just another day in the park for a company like Nintendo, who I mean, they self-short themselves
They
anyway.
say and people don't realize that, and I tell people that all the time. That Nintendo has self-inflicted shortages every year when a new system comes out.
They're
Hey,
like, we do this all the time.
hey guys, real quick, I'm going to go to live chat because this is the thing that I've been seeing kind of like on Twitter a lot.
What's that?
People look. I would encourage anyone who is comparing the coronavirus to the flu to read articles on the coronavirus. I mean, you cannot compare it to the flu, guys. I mean, we have you kind of so. All right, so here's the thing. So I'm not trying to pick on anyone here on the live chat, but Froggy writes is less than 1% of cases are outside of China now. We understand that. That's not the point, though. The point is to contain the epidemic. You don't want this thing
keep 1% outside of China.
That's how you keep that 1%. It's the number of the fact that it's 1% outside of China is irrelevant. It's about containment. You don't want this thing to become a pandemic where it's spread across the globe. And he also said the highly dense populations areas are more vulnerable. Well, where do you think Boston is? Where do you think GDC is? Highly populated areas. People flying internationally. These are multinational companies. Hold on a second. He also said, what was it? Hold on a sec here. Oh, he said more people die of the seasonal flu each year than have died of coronavirus so far. I understand that. The coronavirus is only a month old now. And
we don't know what the extent of this virus is. We don't, like you said, we don't know the incubation period of how long it takes to do what it needs to do. We could just be a quarter of the way through the process of it finally hitting its full blown potential of what it could be. That's why they're frantically trying to find a cure for it now before it gets to that point. And, just because, look, they're trying to contain this to as least of the population as possible. They're shutting down borders. They're doing everything they can do to contain it, to keep it where it is. And that's not saying that we don't care about the people that are affected over in Asia and China, but that's where it originated from, and they're trying to keep it there. And the only way you can keep it there is going through the extreme things that they're doing now. Like, some of it's going to be government and federal things put into play. The rest of it's going to come down to places like Sony not sending people from different countries to other places to conduct business. That's what you're seeing with the pullout from PAX and from GDC. And you're going to see other huge companies do the same exact thing, because why risk it? Like, at this point, there has not been a case of that here in the state that I live in, because it's only been one so far in the United States. But I'm already thinking in my mind, my kids go back to school next week. Do I really want to send my kids to school with this going on? I mean, granted, I probably will end up doing it because there hasn't been any cases here.
I'm sure they'll be fine. Yeah,
but they'll be. But that's just the thing. Being a parent, you're thinking like, what do I need to do to make sure that not only my kids are okay, but everybody else is, thought of in this situation too. And I'd rather people think on the side of caution than just be reckless abandon with the situation and think that everything's going to be okay, and they really don't know what the extent of everything is.
Yeah. I want to say something. I understand Froggy saying, I'm just trying to keep things in perspective. I understand that. But I don't, it's not a good comparison to say, well, the flu's killed more people than the coronavirus. That's not really.
Flu's been around a lot longer.
People understand. Medicine has a better understanding of the flu. They don't know the full impact of the coronavirus. So some people are estimating it could be 20 times more lethal than the flu. And that's something serious. And again, it's not, he also said, saying 40% of the world is going to get it, spreading things like that is not really helpful. But it's not helpful saying, well, only at the same time, it's not helpful saying, oh, well, it's just 1%. 1% of everyone outside of China has I forgot what he said. 1% of the infections are outside of China.
Outside of China.
Yeah. I mean, look, people should know that it could be 40 to 70%. It's not guaranteed. No one knows for sure. I said that earlier. But you read that information, you take it, you process it, you interpret it, and you make your own decision based on the information that you received. I mean, that's the only thing that I'm saying, really. I mean, I'm not, look, I don't know if 40 to 70% of the world's going to get it. That's a guess, but that's the thing that is so compelling about this particular virus, is that no one really knows. And so that's where the hesitation and people saying, wait a minute, maybe these companies saying, maybe we need to reevaluate. There's a health epidemic or a pandemic now. Somebody actually, France just reported their first death coronavirus related just right now. It's something that we need to take into consideration as we think about our employees traveling abroad. So, which was like, I was kind of surprised to see Major Nelson go to Korea last week with the coronavirus. But he tends to wear white gloves a lot, so he might be okay. But this is
he got the iDizzy versions, limited edition.
Yeah, Ryan Landis says, if you can afford to avoid the risk, why is that a problem? Yeah, I think it's a great point.
Exactly.
These companies have to make decisions on their own. Some companies aren't going to follow suit. Some companies are going to make decisions differently than what Sony and Facebook have just done. Other companies may have maybe their domestic offices maybe show up, and maybe international folks stay at home. Who knows? But I just think to me, this is fascinating, because here we are. And I lived through SARS. If you guys remember SARS in 2003, here we are with the coronavirus, and it potentially is having an impact on the industry that we love and that we follow. To me, it's fascinating in that regard. So, I just went on a complete rant. I'm sorry about that, guys, but I just wanted to get that point across.
No, I think Froggy just said, do you think Sony will do a direct instead now that they have canceled their public presentations? Look, I think the furthest thing from their mind right now is talking about PlayStation when it comes to how hard this is hitting over there in the area that they call home. I mean, granted, they're from Japan and Tokyo, but it's still close to where they are, and they have a lot of stake in the factories that are over there that's building this system and everything. So I think until this epidemic is taken care of and it's somewhat under control, you're going to see a lot of people pulling out of different things. No pun intended.
Yeah, look, and I'm oh my goodness! Every time I hear that, Sony pulled out.
Right, because everybody, because people's been making memes all day about.
What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Forte.
What are you doing?
Forte.
Yeah.
What I was going to ask you a quick question. Now I forgot, man.
It'll come back to you.
Yeah. Oh man, I just because somebody in the live chat, T-Rock, was saying SARS, swine flu, bird flu. You and I, Enrique, are the same age, and I thought it was kind of funny because I'm like, yeah, I do remember those. Oh man, I forgot.
Very vividly remember those.
Don't forget about that.
What's that?
I said, and Y2K. Don't forget about that.
Oh yeah, I took all my money out on my bank account.
Yeah, I think everybody did.
Yeah.
People was like,
now we know who the idiot is.
People was like, I don't believe in Y2K, and yet they still. I said, did you pull your money out the bank? Yep, sure.
Yeah,
did.
I sure did, man. I put all my money. I was walking around with a couple grand in my pocket.
People was internet rich that day. It's like, I'm real rich.
Yeah, I remember
Never
the whole
had this
Y2K
much money
thing.
a day in my life at one time.
Yeah, I'll
And
be
guess
honest.
what? The clock rolled over.
When it comes to this kind of subject, and they're talking about, Sony wanting to talk about the PS5, I don't think that they're really going to want to even say anything until they really know
Exactly.
if they're going to be able to go through with the production and getting it out to the masses. So again, this is probably where you're going to see the delay, is where you would normally get the information sooner. It looks like it's just going to be pushed further and further until we really know. You don't want to get ahead of yourselves, especially as a company.
Yeah, see, now Sony actually has a reason to say, hey, we're not talking about that stuff right now because it's other things that's important. So they actually have an out when it comes to not talking about PlayStation as of right now. And honestly, they shouldn't talk about it, because is not important compared to what's in the face of everything else going on in the world, and especially, like I said, in that region of the world that they call home.
I would agree with you 110% their forte, and I think they should talk about it when they're ready. I don't think you want to go out and reveal a product when you're not ready to do so, right?
Well, especially when it's based on the region that's affected the most by it producing it.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta. I mean, like Dizzy said, they can easily move that stuff to the Taiwan plant. Microsoft can move back to Brazil, and that is and all is fine and dandy. But ultimately, these systems were being manufactured and created in that region, and to basically come out and say and talk about those things without having this being a part of the narrative, because guess what, if they announce price and they announce the date that it's coming out, what's the first question a reporter is going to ask that's there? Well, is your number of systems going to be impacted by the epidemic that's going over in Northeast Asia? It's going to turn into something it doesn't need to. So at this point, everybody knows that this is going to affect it. Just leave it at that until you have 100% certainty of how it's going to affect you going forward.
You know what I'm concerned about? Forte's E3, man.
Yeah, man, I was thinking about that too. Like, what's the ramifications? Because a lot of these studios are based out of different countries. We do have quite a few that are based here and in the Americas, but how many people are going to be willing to do exactly what Sony did at E3? I mean, depending on how long this process takes for them to find a vaccine, and if they don't find a vaccine up until April, beginning of May, and then they got to test it out and everything. So it's very worrisome. And I mean, not just for the fact that we're going, it's just the fact that, that's just another thing that might be on a chopping block for a bunch of these game developers and publishers.
Well, interesting. I'm looking at U.S. coronavirus cases. I mean, Arizona, Massachusetts, Wisconsin, California, Illinois, Washington State, Texas.
Those are all confirmed now?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
See, stay at home,
and
man.
Texas, this is case number 15th. Washington State, case number 1st. So it looks like, if I'm understanding this, okay, so there's 8 confirmed cases in California, 2 in Illinois, 1 in Wisconsin, 1 in Arizona, 1 in Washington State, 1 in Massachusetts, 1 in Texas, 15 confirmed cases of patients infected with coronavirus in the United States right now. Age ranges from 20s to early 60s, and there's a couple unknown age groups, but so this is why these companies are looking at this stuff, Wow.
Shut up, Gregor Von Boom.
What did Gregor say now?
The real question is, will the virus affect the incoming stock of Pokemon?
Oh my God! I got to tell you something, man. I'm really bugged by this question that I had for you, Forte. I cannot remember it for the life of me. Like, I'm just like, what was I going to ask Forte?
Oh, it had something to do with Pokemon. Gregor might have beat you to it already.
No, it wasn't about Pokemon, man. It was about something else, and I completely forgot about it.
You'll remember it.
Yeah, I'll remember it at another point in time. But well, I mean, this is cool. We had some late breaking news. I
don't know if you saw this. More pulling out of the Mobile World Conference. Nokia, Facebook, AT&T, Sprint, Intel.
That conference is actually canceled.
Oh, the whole thing's canceled.
Yeah, they canceled it. It's shortly after those companies withdrew. They canceled the event entirely because of the outbreak or the virus. Yeah.
They need to.
Such a shame.
I mean, look, man, false positives and false negatives happen all the time. I mean, all you need is one of these faulty testing kits to go faulty on the wrong person, and they make it through checkpoints, and next thing you know, you're looking at a whole area that's just contaminated and it's being spread everywhere.
I'm telling you, man, if I see Deacon St. John rolling down my street, I know what time it is.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great game, I hear, at least.
That's this and I just played that game. This stuff kind of freaks me out a little bit. I'm serious. I've always thought.
Didn't freak you out already?
I've always thought.
This?
You know, I always thought, man, what if we keep seeing zombie apocalypse because they know it's coming?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a battle between either Umbrella Corp or Skynet to kill us. So
that's true.
Which one gets to us first?
So yeah, and we're seeing smarter AI. We're seeing deadlier viruses. Something's gonna happen.
We're gonna have robots that are turning people into zombies. That's what's gonna happen.
I tell you what, I'm gonna get my bike like Deacon St. John, find Boozer. I'm gonna be out on the road. I love that game, by the way. I love that game. So, all right, gentlemen, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this Brap rant. Any final words, iDizzy, on the topics we discussed this afternoon?
No, not really. Unfortunately, it's just bad all around. What we have to discuss on it, but it's the reality of the scopes for both coronavirus and GameStop.
Yeah.
Just hopefully never hand in hand.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Forte, what about you, sir? Any party thoughts?
I mean, I guess we already talked about the corona, and it's unfortunate. Just don't get upset at these companies for pulling out of these different events and stuff, because safety's first, and I care more about that than anything. When it comes to GameStop, man, just know that the store you walk into, if you still find yourself shopping in GameStop, they're there to help you, and they're there to basically inform you of everything they need to inform you of. As long as you go in there with that idea, they're never going to make you do anything. That's at least been what my experience around it has been. But it's a job, and the job has to be done by somebody. And I'd rather that job be done by somebody that actually cares about gaming than somebody that just is there to push an agenda. Because ultimately, that's what will happen if the people that are there to just talk about the stuff and that genuinely love gaming, those people are going to leave. If they feel like they're being pressured enough, or they feel like the outside influences are enough to make them do that, that's how you lose great people. And trust me, I guarantee you GameStop has lost more good people than they even care to admit, because it's a hard thing to be in sales. I've been in sales a long time. And like I said, I started at my first sales job was at Best Buy in 2000 when I was a sophomore in college. And I was working on car mobile installations, and I was working in TVs, and it was great. It was fun. And it taught me a lot of different ways of being there to interact with customers on the things that they need in their house, and or just in their home in general. And then that graduated over to Circuit City into other things that I did too. And my whole thought process around it has never changed. I think that most people probably would understand more if there was more of a structure around commission base, because I think that's probably when people hear stories about this, they kind of relate those to companies that have their employees on commission. And I think that's something that it was the thing, people would probably feel a little bit more better. It's like, well, they're on commission, so I can understand them pushing it a little bit more. But as of right now, just go into your stores and enjoy the people that are there, because they're the ones there to help you. They're the ones that standing in front of you, talking to you, not the suits up at corporate. Those people are just there to make sure that the company stays afloat as long as it can until these new systems come out, and then we'll see whatever happens from there.
It's a great point, Forte. I appreciate that insight, man. That's again, great points. And again, I am pro GameStop. I value the service that they offer me as a gamer, and I don't want to see them go away. I'll say that. I've said that before. I don't want to see it happening, but hopefully they can figure it out. Because for years I've been hearing about the demise of GameStop, but yet they're still down the street from my house. Hopefully they can turn things around. So,
You know
But-
what? I need a discount from Gregor. You know when I need a new emblem and I need a new banner for the channel. I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna have to come at you and talk to you about some type of royalty deal because I allow you to lambaste my name every day in these chats for free. I got to get some type of return on this, sir.
Yeah.
Gregor, be getting like, look at this Pikachu. Oh my god, did you read that?
Yeah, I did, man. he
He
loves roasting you, man.
Tear rolls down Pikachu's face. I hate you.
Yo, he loves roasting you, man. Gregor Von Doom is hilarious. He was, hey,
dude, your mic was botting harder than mine, and he didn't even chew as much as he came at me yesterday.
That is true. Those are facts. So T Rock 40 says, I love GameStop. Always buy there. We'll mostly buy physical. So
keep shopping there, then. That's all that matters.
Yeah, keep going there, man. So, all right. Well, on that note, everyone, thank you so much in the live chat. Hope you guys enjoyed the show as much as we did. Please hit that like button if you haven't done so already. If you haven't subscribed, please, subscribe and hit that bell notification button so you know that when we go live, so you're alerted when we go live. And I want to give a big shout out to iDizzy81. iDizzy, hey man, it was great to finally have you on, Brat, man.
Thank you.
Seriously, such a pleasure, man. Thank you again. And please, iDizzy, I actually did drop your Twitter handle in the comments section or in the description section at the bottom of the podcast. If you guys want to give him a follow, you'll see that information there. iDizzy, we got to get you back on, man. We're working on getting some of the other Lords of the Realm on Brap again. But yeah, man, we definitely would love to have you back on the show, man.
Yeah, we gotta get the whole team over here.
Yeah, get the whole squad.
Yeah, we really do, man. We really do. So, and Forte, no matter what Gregor Von Doom says,
no Pokemon were hurt during the making of this video.
Oh my goodness.
Oh Jesus.
Forte, I just want to say I appreciate you, sir, and appreciate your insight. And thank you again, man, for coming on the show, man. Definitely appreciate it. So,
no problem.
On that note, we are out, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon. I'm telling you, this coronavirus thing is getting really interesting. I've been reading a lot about it. I don't know why it fascinates me, but it does, and it's having an impact in the hobby that we all enjoy, which is crazy. But that's the real world we live in today. So, everyone, again, enjoy the rest of the afternoon. We'll see you guys next time. Who knows? Maybe there's another Brap Rant coming. There could be. Keep an eye out for it. They can drop it anytime. On that note, we're out. We'll see you guys later. Peace.
Peace.